Good evening. It is Tuesday, the 8th of October 2024, and this is part of my journey, show 46. This is my mental health talk show. It's been a crazy journey so far. We did episode 45 a little while ago, which had clips from the show, some amazing guests I've had on and talked about different types of mental health and all sorts of issues, which have been really interesting. And now we're into sort of like effectively sort of season 2. Got someone on the show who inadvertently organized a meetup when DJ Tanner and also Macula were in the UK. They said, we're going to be here, let's go and meet up. So I went up to London and he was the one who'd put together the location where to meet. And then he turned up as well. We've got a lot to talk about community, about music, about records, about Twitch. Without further ado, DJ Ray Domingo.
How we doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm very good, bro. Good to see you.
I always ask my guests from the beginning because music's a big passion in my life, as it is in pretty much everyone who's been on my show. I'm always interested to know who the musical influences are. What sort of age did you first get into music and who introduced you?
It was a mix between my mum and my dad, but they've got such diverse music between them. My mum was really kind of a country, kind of folky music lover, I guess. And my dad was into the Crusaders, Temptations, the funk side, the jazz side of stuff. And then there was my side growing up. I didn't have any peers. I don't have an older brother or sister. So I kind of fell into like the pop music when I was about 13 or 14. I thought I'd be one of those top of the pops BJs. But that quickly changed at about 15. Saw someone on a pair of turntables. It changed everything.
Right, so 15.
My parents sent me away for my first holiday on my own, sent me to visit my family in San Francisco, and my cousins were DJs there. They're not DJs anymore, but they're DJs there, and I saw them. But I was quite a timid boy. I just looked at them and like, what's that? What's that? What are they doing? After my holiday, I insisted, like my parents give me my pocket money, but I wouldn't spend it, like put it away every month. Bought my first deck. They saw me save up for the first deck, which was like a Sound Lab belt drive or something. Yeah.
Everyone's had a belt drive deck at some point, haven't they?
Yeah, this was like 1989, 1990. So they see me do that and they bought me the other one and then helped me get the...
Yeah.
I think they bought me one of those realistic £50 mixers with no crossfader. And that was the beginning.
Amazing. And what music were you into at that stage?
I got into hip hop at school from kids at about 15, 16. We're all into hip hop. 1989. I was already buying records, but I wasn't DJing. I was just collecting records, collecting cassettes before, obviously. Big Daddy Kane, Eric B. and Rakim cassettes. My first record was Public Enemy, It Takes a Nation of Millions. Bought that in Portobello, Rough Trade.
It's amazing you mentioned Public Enemy. They come up in pretty much every show. It's really interesting how so many of my guests have been on and they've all been influenced heavily by Public Enemy. It's just a credit to what an amazing band. Yeah. You're buying records?
Yes.
As in 12-inch and LPs?
Mainly 12s. The albums were always my dad at first, but then when I started getting into it, it was only 12s. That was the way forward, I think, because I saw the DJing route.
Where were you sort of picking them up from?
I would hang out at the record stores, but there'd be like, you got your Tower Records and your HMVs at our prices. I would hang out in Soho every Saturday morning from about 11 o'clock, waiting for the vans to pull up, sitting Wild Pitch most. So I grew a bit of a friendship with all the guys at Wild Pitch on Lexington, which is right by Carnaby Street.
Nice.
I still speak to a few of them now, actually, so it's quite good. Yeah, they're not DJs anymore. They still love music and stuff like that. So yeah, I still see them.
So you'd sit and wait for these vans to turn up with the new hot wax.
Yes, we say hip hop, but I fell in love with the subgenre of R&B called New Jack Swing. That's what taught me, and that's what I only bought. And they was one of the top sellers of that. And I would just hang out with them. We all loved it. They all loved it there. So it's just nice. I didn't get too much into the boom bap stuff. I didn't get into the jungle. I didn't get into the UKG or the ragga. It was New Jack Swing and R&B for me.
And at this stage, you're still buying for yourself. You know, the DJing comes a little bit later.
No, pretty much after I started DJing. I got my first gig at my Leavers Do.
Oh wow! So you've got these new decks. You've got your new decks, and suddenly you've got a gig as well. Amazing.
So yeah, like I was collecting music. So I've been collecting music since I was young. Like I was saying, so about 13, 14. My mum would take me Woolworths. You know when they used to have the 7-inch.
Yeah.
It was about 75 pence. Yeah. You know, I remember it was like my first records were like Belinda Carlisle and Whitney Houston. But after that, when I got into the hip hop and the New Jack Swing, Then it was 12s and going. I was collecting that and I was DJing at home, making mixtapes for everyone. And people would hear them at school and say, why don't you just do what Levers do? That was one of the first. And then some people heard, made me do like community hall parties. First one was in the Emerald Centre, Hammersmith, which was quite a good one. I think I was about 18. Then I got myself into a couple of other venues. I think there was one in Wigmore Street, Victoria. But there was also that one underneath the Prague Street Hotel. I mean, I used to do parties, but I got out of the party scene real quickly. I didn't do the mobile set. I kind of got lucky with who I met and who knew Jack Swing, so I kind of got gigs from quite an early age.
So these gigs then, you're about 18, 19 now, you're getting these. How does that progress then?
Kind of stayed steady till I got to uni, and then at uni I drop out a little bit, and then I found the student union bars and it changed everything.
Right.
It changed everything. I made one semester at university. I went to South Bank Polytechnic and hung out so much more in the bar, the student union bar, than anything. So I just started getting more and more gigs from there. Wanted to try production, did that, did more and more parties. I think by about 2024, started getting more like residencies and stuff. But nothing really, really big, but just nice local ones, Wednesday, Thursday evening.
And still focusing on the New Jack Swing, or did that sort of move on?
Yeah, New Jack Swing, well, hip hop and R&B. Yeah, it went all into that, and a bit of the ragga dancehall stuff, which kind of fits in nicely with it. But I always kept within those lanes. Never liked venturing anywhere else.
It's being good in your niche, isn't it? And being good in your genre and stuff, and knowing the hottest stuff.
I think more so is because it's financially I couldn't afford it.
Well, yeah.
You know, I only got into albums about 2005. I started collecting albums when I kind of had a break from DJing.
And you said a little bit about production as well. I mean, by this point, are you producing?
Yeah, we had a couple of demos out. We didn't actually make it. We talked to a few labels like Universal and Warner's, but never actually made it. There was 4 of us. It was me and 3 other guys. I was mainly like producer, a bit of a rapper, but not very great. But the other guys were solid rappers. I don't know. I always felt I didn't like my sound anyway. I didn't like the style. I didn't even like my voice rapping, and they kind of enforced me to rap, and I didn't want to do it. And then one of the main guys who was super talented, he's actually got 2 famous hip-hop musician brothers out now. One's called Freddie Krueger, brother's an acoustic guitarist, but he was their younger brother and he didn't want to pursue music anymore, and he was our front man, so it kind of fell apart when he left about 96, 97ish. I think dabbled in it for about a year, but then just got quiet with it.
DJing's one thing, producing music takes so much longer. That's about 96, 97. Where do things sort of go from there?
Started working in vinyl mastering. Started off as a tape packer, 25, because I was still wanted to be heavily in music, and I was, you know, bumming around, just only picking music jobs. My parents were getting frustrated, you know. They thought DJ was a hobby. They was really annoyed with me. So they said, if I don't have a job by 25, I'd have to go into admin or banking or something. Finally got a job packing cassette tapes for a company called Heathman's Mastering, which is in Fulham. I worked there for a few months, kind of progressed. Yeah, it was great because it was another tool for me to get more work, because it's within the music industry. We work with everyone, every record label you could think of in London, UK, from Raucous Records to Universal to pop, like Miss Dynamite and Mystique, Girls Aloud, Blue, Right Said Fred. I think I still got Fred's number somewhere.
Okay.
So yeah, we'd work with them. We'd master their CDs and their albums and send them off to promos, send them, you know, organize their promo stuff. I did that for a good 14, 15 years. Ended up running a company for about 10 years before I just said I had enough of it all.
It's just hard work, isn't it, though, isn't it?
Right, I loved it. And I always said I would always do it until I loved it. But then I realized I didn't love it anymore, but I'd been stuck with a mortgage and got a family now. And I kind of started about 2005. I really hated the R&B and hip hop, which is kind of weird because they're like my favorite producers and they're big producers now. But I really didn't like the sound of Neptunes and Timbaland at the time. 2005, and every single record was a Timbaland or Neptunes record. That's when I kind of ducked out from DJing. My son was born 2005, so it was time to hang up the needles.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally, because obviously now it's more digital now, isn't it, compared to...
Yeah. That's right.
Do you then just buy music for yourself at that point? You're just not concentrating on DJing, but still collecting?
Yes, that's when when I sort of got into the albums. I got more into the hip hop side and neo soul side of music because there was no more New Jack Swing. Like I said, I really didn't appreciate the Neptunes, and now as a DJ, a party DJ again, I do appreciate them. But when I was DJing with them, it just didn't sound organic enough for me. So I got into the neo soul side. You know, D'Angelo, your Music Soul Child, your Erykah Badu's, your Jill Scott, Bilal. Got into the underground hip hop scene, started a blog with a couple of friends. It was called That Realness. We'd liaise with these underground independent hip hop artists all over the world.
Back then, there wasn't the social media that there is now, where you can sort of reach out to people and connect. You know, back then, how were you connecting still with all
It
these
was
artists?
blogs was the way, and I mean I think that was just like the end of MySpace, right? I think that was the MySpace era. I was more of the nitty gritty stuff. I wouldn't liaise with people. My other two friends, a brother and sister, who were really good with networking with everyone, and we get the details. And I would be part of just reviewing, posting, making mixtapes so we could promote like 25, 30 artists in one go, creating artwork for them and stuff like that.
Borislav is saying, what was the blog name?
It was called That Realness. ThatRealness. And I think it was on a blog spot. The first mixtape we done on it on my Mixcloud.
Borislav saying it's still live. Cool.
Is
There you go. Cool. So where does it go from there? Blogs are obviously the way. You're sort of pushing all of that. Where does things go?
Oh, it kind of all crashed. I said I'm beginning to hate work. I was staying at work like 16, 17-hour days, 7 days a week. Kind of crashed. And my father passed away in my arms. And then I realized that there was more to life than just work. So I kind of left work. I just crashed out. I was in it for a lot. I gotta say, before that, it was great. I was working with a lot. I was stuck in a mixtape scene in the end, doing a lot of promos for your guys like Sway, Biggs. We did Deneo, stuff like that. I was realizing I wasn't doing the creative side that I thought I'd be doing. So it kind of crashed. And then having my father pass away, he had angina. He was sick for a long, long time. So it wasn't like a surprise, but I was the one who found him in the bedroom. And I was trying to resuscitate him, couldn't do anything. And it kind of made me reevaluate everything. And then I kind of lost everything from then. I gave up the job. Me and my partner, me and my family, we separated. I was homeless for 2 years. So that's why I don't have records anymore. They're still in my friend's attic. And that was about, a good 12, 13 years ago. And I just started again from DJing. 2013, I said, what do I love doing? What did I love doing? I didn't want to be a pen pusher anymore. I didn't want to be in an office. I didn't want to wear a shirt. I didn't want to be up at 9 o'clock in the morning. I didn't want to get on the London Underground. So I started DJing again. 2013, October, set my own parties called Reminisce in Portobello, Labrador Grove, and they were like old school throwback 80s, 90s and noughties R&B hip hop parties. And that was amazing.
Well, first of all, man, thanks so much for sharing. Sharing all of that. That's stuff that I and probably a lot of people didn't know, and it's amazing that sort of moment of it must have been great sadness and, like you say, a very difficult time. But then it sort of made you realise that life is, life's short.
Yeah,
we all take it for granted, don't we? But life is short, really.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it is.
And it's amazing that got you back into the sort of DJing and thinking, right, what do I want to do creatively and musically? And the passion was still there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it was also a good job for convenience because being separate, I still wanted to be a big active part of my kids' life. Made the advantages of, all right, if I worked evenings and I could be there for every school play, I could be there for every assembly, I can be there for every meeting. There's nothing saying no. So I have 3 kids, so it's a lot of time off. So having all my days off to do whatever I want with them and go work in the evening and still earn a bit of income is another part of why I love that job so much.
Then that just carried on, obviously. You started getting different gigs and sort of moving on with that side of things.
Yeah, so before all of that, I had a job and then was DJing, so it wasn't as full-time. Then I focused on being a full-time DJ. 2013 took a long while, but when I started from nothing, I was still moving around, taking people's spare rooms. I was house sitting at times, so I didn't have to worry too much about my rent, my income at the time. So lucky that my network of friends were there just to support me, say, look, we can stay in our house for 2-3 months, or we're doing some work so you can look after the house for us until I managed to get myself my first flat. I tried other jobs as well. Same time, I tried everything you can think of. I almost got into being a lampy, which is works on the lights at festivals, right. And that's really hard on your body, that is. But I loved it. It's like there's a group of there's 100 of you all working together to build these amazing stages and stuff like that. I kind of like that, but it's tough on your body, and I wasn't a young man anymore.
And I guess it was good to be able to throw yourself into something and give yourself a focus and a sort of challenge and a goal. I want to get this, and getting your first flat and all of that. So that must have really helped.
Yeah. Well, my thing is, I said there's nothing else. I can't lose anymore. So everything else was going to be a bonus. Everything was going to be a plus. I didn't see it as unobtainable. Actually, like the part of having nothing of your whole life. When you have nothing, like I just realized it was a lot more easier. It was a lot more stressless, should I say? Like even to this day, even though I've now got my own 2-bed flat and all this equipment, I just try and keep all my outgoings to the minimum. We live in this world where we want and want and want. We want everything and everything. The only thing I have the addiction with is this bloody equipment here.
Yeah, for me, it's records.
I wonder if I'm a
yeah.
DJ just to buy equipment.
All right. Well, I mean, let's sort of move it on a little bit until the sort of pandemic, because obviously being a DJ and obviously that being part of your income and all of that, like most of professional DJs, it must have hit quite hard. So tell us what you were doing just before lockdown and then how it sort of impacted.
So yeah, just before the pandemic, I was a full-time DJ. I was in a long-distance relationship as well. I was seeing someone for a couple of years. She lived in the furthest part to London, which is Melbourne. We'd see each other. We'd see each other like every other month. I mean, because DJing is really good. I can take time off. Spent 6 weeks with her before the pandemic, and then I came back home. We got locked down. I was just like, all right, cool. It's only going to be 2 weeks. It's only going to be 3 weeks. It's only going to be a month. But throughout that time, I already knew that I wasn't going to stop. I stopped DJing, but I said there's got to be something else I've got to do. There's got to be. I tried to do radio. I went straight into online radio. Started working for Raw Soul Radio and ThamesFM.net as a release. But I wouldn't do anything else. People were talking about streaming, heard everyone streaming, because I'm not doing that. Who's going to watch us for free? A couple of friends of mine knew they were going to lose their father. And they goes, can you just play some music for us so we can all hang out together? And that changed it all. That changed from one Saturday. I started doing it every morning, treated it like work for the first 2 years of the pandemic. I DJ six times a week, maybe 5 times, definitely, Monday to Friday. And some Saturdays, I get up every morning, I treat it like work. I'd be on at 9 o'clock every morning during the pandemic, just hanging out with my mates for 2 hours. We'd all just hang out. It wasn't even DJing at the time. We got the name AITT. So I just called the show All In This Together because that's what we would do. We're just going to hang out all in this together. And I wasn't even DJing. I think at the time we could use Spotify on our DJ sets. We could use them on Serato. So I just tell everyone, tell me what you want to hear, and we'll play it, and we'll talk about what you like it. And we'll all play songs and see if we can remember songs that we've forgotten, or play our favorite songs that we feel will lift us up and stuff like that. That was the birth of All In This Together.
And so who was it who got you into, because this was on Twitch when you first started, or
I started on Facebook.
Facebook. Okay. Yeah,
Facebook.
And then copyright shutdowns. And
I did that for about 2 weeks, and I was like, I'm not doing this. Did a little bit of research. I don't even know how Twitch came about. I think someone said Twitch or Instagram. Didn't like the idea of doing it on mobile phone. But funny enough, that's how I first streamed, was just off an old mobile phone. Didn't have a desktop for it or anything. I could just barely see who was talking to me on my screen.
It's incredible how, and we'll talk about how we've moved on, but obviously a lot of us started on phones or on like really basic stuff. And then obviously we're now sort of in studios, and it's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, so you're doing that for sort of 2 years, pretty much day in, day out.
Yeah.
Again, was that dealing with the fact that you were locked in and you couldn't do anything else, and that was just keeping you occupied? But also community, isn't it? You talked about, it was a space for people to hang out. And
it was all of that. It was so I live on my own. So I had 3 kids. I was separated from their mothers, separated from my girlfriend. They scared us, couldn't allow us to see our phone. I remember my brother had asked me, do I want to live with him? He's got 3 like babies. I said, no way, bro. I don't. I just decided to just stay at home on my own. It was what I needed to do. Like, I didn't want to just sit and do nothing. I mean, I don't know if anyone could do that, but I just knew I could. I had it. I had the opportunity to get out, play music. I enjoyed it. We all enjoyed it. It didn't feel like work. My mentality was, let's treat it like work. Let's get up every morning. Let's not lie in bed like any longer. Then I was up 9 o'clock, do 2-3 hours, then end up doing all days. I don't know what it is. But it is the community, the people, the sense of like we was doing something good as well as they were saving our lives. Or what I felt they were saving my life. Like if I didn't get up, I would be invisible, or nobody would know I was here.
We're lucky in a sense that we had the ability to do this, to sort of get a DJ set up or whatever and get together.
Just seen Sam Tweaks.
He's
talked about Rondog, who is one of the first DJs I connected with on Twitch, and he lives in Melbourne. No, he lives in Sydney, Australia, not Melbourne. It wasn't him.
Okay, I see where he's gone with this.
It wasn't him.
Oh, Sam. A lot of us discovered Twitch to start with, I guess everyone was like, well, you know, what the hell's this? What's going on? And it's only when you then spotted the community aspect and then the raids and the growing a community and meeting new people constantly, because it was, isn't it? And I assume it was the same for you. Like even now, most days, if you're streaming, someone new will come into the chat and say hello, and that's a real thing. And then you see them come back again, and then they're like friends. And then, like you say, it helped them, but also it must have helped you because you needed something to do. Because where would any of us be if we hadn't been doing this for the last, 4 years? You know, I know people have sort of come and gone. Some people are not streaming anymore, but a lot of us are still doing it because it's still another community, isn't it? It's like going to a mate's house and sort of hanging out with your mates, isn't it? You know.
No, it is. It definitely is. I mean, it surprises me. It's another reason why I don't think I'll ever stop live streaming until nobody watches me. I've tried to give up. I'm seriously, like, for my own reasons, I thought about giving up, but I can't, just because of how many people were there for us during the pandemic and how many friendship and relationships I've seen. And it is nice. Like, think as a DJ as well, before the pandemic, you're quite isolated. I was talking to someone about this earlier. It's quite a lonely job. People don't realize that it's a lonely job. You know, if you're traveling, you're on your own. And if you go do a gig, even if you're at a wedding, you know, you're not part of the party. You know, you'll have to go to the suppliers room and have your dinner on your own, then come back out and still be at party mode. Like, you know, you rarely talk to any people they do talk to you. They're asking for songs or requests, or they're not trying to build friendships or relationships. You're very much on your own.
Yeah, Sam Tweaks is saying facts. Stepdaddy's saying 100%. Yeah, we've talked about it on this show and other shows as well. It's also a little bit, most DJs are sort of introverted extroverts, aren't they? They're sort of, you know, quite shy. Almost you use the decks to sort of hide behind, so you sometimes don't have to deal with other people.
Yes.
Which used to be the case, but now it's interesting to, you know, it's sort of gone the other way for me, certainly through Twitch, is meeting new people. I think because they're into what you're into, or they're into music, or they're into records, or they're into 45s, or whatever it is. And you've got that immediate connection, which then helps the bonds and the friendships.
Breaks down barriers and stuff.
And we've done obviously a lot of 45s events, and we've done Twitch meetups, and obviously that. How did you find that once the lockdown was sort of over and you're able to meet up with people? Did you find your community starting to meet up at events?
Yeah, I did. I threw one straight away. It was quick for me though. I didn't do well at it. I went straight into that DJ, and I said, I'll just DJ and I'll just stay behind the computer and let everybody mingle.
Right.
You know, even though they'd come out to see me, or I'd ask them to come out at the AITT tribe. You know, there was about 30 to maybe 50 of us in the first meetup, and it was a lot. It was overwhelming. It was like first day at school, and I was like, yeah, I'm not used to this. Let me just stick here and do what I'm doing on the microphone and just talk to Twitch. It was easier that way.
Different thing, isn't it? It's a different way of DJing. And this is what I find, you know, because again, I saw when I first started DJing again after the pandemic, I was like, I'm not sure I really like this anymore. You know, I miss a lot exactly what you're saying, talking and seeing people in the chat and people who are into the music, and you know.
So do you DJ out still? Like
Do you
get the microphone? Do you feel you're on the microphone more though?
No, I'm not on the microphone at all. I do a little bit, like if we're doing some events, I'll like introduce the next DJ and say, right, give it up for the last DJ, but that's about it really, because it's not Twitch. It's not. And the people there, and it's one of the things I was trying to work out when Soul Train did their first live event. They had two different mixers, and they had one microphone which was for the crowd, the people there physically, and then another microphone for the people on Twitch, because obviously you talk to the communities in very different ways. Or not at all to the community in
present.
Exactly. So it's been interesting. So that like you say, it is a bit overwhelming, isn't it? But have you found that the people you've met are, especially the streamers, are like they are on Twitch?
Yes, I think so. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I met the other ones. You know, I don't think I'm 100% what I'm like on stream. I do exaggerate a little bit. I'm a lot shyer in person, but it's still me. I don't feel like it's not me. People I've met have all been genuinely nice. I've got along with nearly everybody. I mean, there's I'm not trying to just talk numbers and but I do remember when I got to about 11,000 followers, then I started getting some hate and some people who were a bit, and that goes, you know, which kind of did affect me. I was like, I thought I was nice, for everyone liked me. I thought, you know, along the way, we're not all going to be compatible. We're not all going to be great friends, but we can all be, you know, we can all be friends. With the DJs in general, I think they just extend what they've learned or what they felt from Twitch, and it's just upheld it. It's so nice, like how
Yeah.
we met. Like how we met.
Yeah.
I've never met Little Fever or Candyman. Candyman was on my first rate that I did way back in 2019.
Bit of a mental meet. I mean, if anyone doesn't know, DJ Immaculate and DJ Tanner had come over from Canada to play at Shindig, and they landed, I think, on the Wednesday morning, and they were going to Shindig on Thursday. And I was like trying to arrange to meet up with them. And I was like, look, I can come up to London. And then you dropped in a chat saying, come to this place. And I was like, right, let's meet there. And then I didn't know what time you'd get. And then you walk in, and then with Little Fever and Candyman. I was like, it was pretty random, wasn't it? And then Funky J turned up as well, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, I would have had Funky J at my house. Like I said, I only got 2 beds, so I had both Little Fever and Candyman crashing at my place that night.
Amazing. But it was just cool just to sort of hang out and meet these people from Twitch, and also people like you who I haven't really connected. And again with Little Fever as well. Candyman I'd spoken to because he'd been on one of these shows before. You've brought up numbers, which is cool, because I was going to ask you about sort of becoming a Twitch partner and all of that. So how did that go when you became a Twitch partner, and what were the benefits then? Are the benefits still the same?
No benefits. I mean, most of the only benefits. I wasn't actually chasing for it. I didn't chase for it. I just kept doing my thing. Like I had loads of people saying, if you wanted to be partner, you can't stream 6 days a week, bro. You know, you're not gonna maintain those numbers. I didn't care. I had what I wanted. I wanted my community. I wanted to be there. I was kind of like the big handover. I think one of the reasons I struck out lucky is I was one of the main handovers from when America were going to bed. I'd be getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Some of these crazy Las Vegas DJs are finishing and they wanna raid someone. So, you know, they raid me. I don't know, for example, for about 6 months, I didn't meet any UK DJs on Twitch for, I don't feel, maybe shorter than that, maybe 3 or 4 months. It was all American DJs. And I think I was quite lucky because there was a big Filipino community, and they looked at me and they goes, well, you're Filipino, but you don't have an American accent. So I think that really, I don't know how you say it, but it was intriguing to them. And I built a lot of friendships that way. I mean, I've been to America about 6-7 times since we came out of the pandemic. I mean, I've got family already there. Like I said, I learned how to DJ in San Francisco, but I would never go that frequently. But I've just had loads of opportunities to do it.
Off the back of Twitch?
Yeah, off the back of Twitch. Yeah. I mean, there's loads of work out there for me as well, but I more so like to go for the meetups as well and connect with the DJs, manage to meet some of my idols out there, which is awesome. And I would love to meet more of them. I'm like a music fan first.
It's just incredible what's happened, and I think a lot of it is because, like you say, you've been on for that period of time and people get to know you and they know what you like. So then it's like a trust thing, isn't it? Right, if we get him out here to do something with us, an event or DJ for us or a meetup, it's good. We know what he's like. He's our mate. And I think that's what's helped sort of do what I do with the 45s and sort of doing it around the UK. And we went to like Hamburg and did a 3-day event there and stuff like that. Again, it's the meetups and the fact that Twitch DJing is something that can be sort of celebrated as well. It's
definitely,
especially now with the DJ program.
Exactly. Look at this. I think this was the first TwitchCon where we DJs had a big part in it. Right? Was it?
Yeah. How have you found that? What was your sort of feelings before it came in, and how's it been since?
I'm gonna try and do this without getting political.
Okay.
I was already so I have my own subscription service now. I try and not let anyone, or try and this is before they started the DJ program.
Yeah.
Just didn't feel it was right. So I've set up my own subscription where it's a bit like Patreon. I just didn't want any more income to buy Twitch, or actually just from streaming, so it wasn't important to me anymore. Now, I even started a new account, and I was trying to use it, and I was never going to sign up to affiliate. We're just going to keep it closed for long, but I don't think you can even do that now on the DJ program. I've signed up now to the DJ program just simply because I love streaming. I'm not trying to, I don't think it's beneficial. I don't like it. I mean, I don't want to get any of us in trouble. I don't like it. It's all like live. It's all like Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, or Tidal. It's not good for the musicians, the artists. They paid for it fairly on that. I wouldn't mind. I would get more involved. So I only sign up to the program because I want to stream, and I still want to DJ, and I still want to keep connected to my community.
Not really any choice, was there? If you had to DJ, and I had a message from someone today saying, "Oh, are you part of the DJ program, or you sort of still streaming casually?" And I was like, "You can't really DJ
Yeah.
casually anymore on
Yeah,
Twitch. I know there's a few people who haven't signed up, but I think they're getting.
I've heard there's people getting shut down
messages.
now. I've heard quite.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like from a couple of raid trains that I'm part of. Yeah, I've heard a couple of people getting shut out, which is sad, but it makes sense.
Well, it
what
does,
they're
doesn't it?
doing.
Because at the end of the day, there's no point in getting people on the DJ program and then letting people not be on it.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, obviously, we've had some people in the community, and people like Sam, and we've had I think Sweet Tooth, and we've had Morse Code. Lots of people on the sort of front page and getting like crazy numbers.
I know, I'm not sure I can handle that.
It's an interesting one because it's a lot of viewers, or it looks like a lot of viewers, but they're not all in the chat. That's the thing. Because you're on the front page. It's a view is just someone coming onto the carousel or someone loading up the app or whatever. Because even when they did the Twitch 808 thing, wasn't it? When they launched it, they'd be like, "Hey, there's 20,000 people in this stream," and then raiding to the next one with 200.
Right.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah, it felt quite bossy, didn't it? Yeah.
It's just the start. It's only been a couple of months, hopefully. Yeah. But again, it depends what you're doing it for. Like some people do it as an income, like you said. That's not really what you're doing it for. It's not what I'm doing this for. So as long as we can do what we want to do that makes us happy, that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah, I also feel I'm quite lucky because I do a lot of the throwback. I don't actually get many strikes. I did get a strike, not a strike. I wouldn't call it a strike. They send you a restricted email.
Yeah.
And I didn't even play that song, and it was really quite easy to let them know. And the portal's not fully opened yet, but there is a way. They'll have a portal where you can just you can contest it. And they were pretty quick to say, sorry, we've made a mistake. It was a sample on the track that you played. It wasn't a track. And they need all that information, I guess, to just get better and better. And I think that's why they still do that. I think we've got a lot of time to just get away with having music and having fun.
Yeah, I think so. And at the moment, if you're in the DJ program, you get a restricted artist email, but it's not a strike. It's not a DMCA takedown. It's just basically like a warning. Right. Let's talk about some other stuff. The other day, I caught your stream. I think it might have been yesterday as part of Beats for a Cure. Tell us how you got involved in that. What that's about.
One of the main things I love about Twitch is that you can do a lot of charity work. In fact, one of the first persons I met was a guy called AV8 Music, and he permanently, I think similar to like yourself, you've got Calm, right? I've seen you've got permanently Calm so that you can always donate. And he was that because that's what I want to do, but I wanted to do more focused. So I do a couple. I can't even tell you how many charity streams I've done. Attempted 2 24-hour streams, both for charity. One for a charity I used to volunteer for, which called Food Cycle, and then the other one was the Choir with No Name. So it's a choir that's based in UK, and everyone in that choir suffer from mental health issues, homelessness, and other stuff. They build a choir, and all they do is just get together and sing and record, and it builds a little community, and they have a little network for themselves. So during the pandemic, they couldn't do that, so I helped raise money so that they could buy mobile phones, so people could still do Zoom calls and do the choir. Doing that, I guess you see loads of other streamers are doing it, and there's a wonderful guy by the name of DJ D-Man who approached me, Cleveland, Ohio. It's 5 years, and I've been doing it since the beginning, 2019. I always push for it. I always try silly stuff to try and get everybody. I've had people. I've just stood up on here and said, "Look, if you donate, I'll twerk. If I raise X amount of money, I'll stream with a bra. I'll even go shopping for a bra and get it fitted." So yeah, I just love this one. I wouldn't do as many now because if I feel you got to focus on a certain amount of charities because people, it's a tough life out there. I don't want people just coming to my stream and expecting to give money all the time. I love the way this guy set it all up. He started, and only this year it's become an official charity. He works with a lot of people. It's just amazing. Yeah, plus the guy's an amazing guy. So he loves Jay Dilla. So,
amazing.
Like what we're talking about, you connect with people that you have similar interests with, especially with the music. The first year they're actually doing a live one. I did think about going there. It just doesn't make sense. I'd rather just give them the flight money than actually go out to Cleveland, Ohio and hang out with them. It just doesn't make sense. I can't even afford the flight money, So
yeah,
I want this to be a big year. I lost my auntie last year to breast cancer. I've had loads of family, friends I know affected by cancer, and it's just one of those charities that are really close to my heart. So I'll be a part of it as long as he keeps inviting me. And I'll do what I can.
And I think it's so important. And like you say, I think as soon as Twitch brought that option in, why wouldn't you put it on the front page, and just say, look, if you want to donate, donate, don't sub, put a donate in,
Yeah,
and it's been incredible that people have found like my stream for the first time or whatever, then suddenly they drop £5 for Calm, and you're just like, oh,
yeah.
thank you so much, you've only just turned up, and they're
Right,
like, yeah,
right.
it's a good
Yeah,
cause. And we do stuff for a couple of other mental health charities, and the
yeah.
45 Kids as well, my daughter and stuff, they
Right.
raise money
Yeah,
for
love that. Love
Jesse's
that.
Fund, which is a
Yeah,
music therapy charity for the UK, kids who in special needs or are in hospices and stuff. So it's great that we've got this little platform where we can actually sort of just push and like you say, not demand people pay all the time, but just give them an option.
yeah,
Obviously, you've got a lot of great teas behind you there. Do you want to
yeah.
tell us a little bit about the brand that you're sort of putting
Yeah.
together?
Another thing I started when my father passed away, I always talked about doing a clothing label. I did have a clothing label about 10 years called Gusto. Done very well. Used to sell in like the high streets of London, ran into some legal because I sample a lot. I use t-shirts the way hip hop artists use records to sample. I guess because it's the hip hop in me that I like doing that. I've had this idea for ages. This is about my third brand I've done. But this is called INTL. It's never too late. I just wanted to do limited edition. There are 50 pieces of these t-shirts will ever be made. And each pocket is, to me, an iconic R&B or hip hop album. I've only just launched it like September 5th, but I haven't pushed it or anything. I'm slowly like tinkering away. It's a totally different shop because I used to do like bricks and mortar shop, but this is a step away from merch. I'm actually built a website now, trying to get the back end going correctly. Have it say euros when you're in Europe, say dollars when you're in America, working out the speed of the delivery, all made to order because I don't want to have stock. When I first did a brand, I had so much stock. I've only probably got rid of my last couple of t-shirts about 2 years ago, but I just give them away to just I'd have a room of just t-shirts packed. But I like the idea of made to order, gives a hand finished thing. So that I've got no excess, nothing goes into landfills. Giving it a go, see how it goes. Always do what I want. I have an idea. I kind of go through it all. I have another project I just launched called Share the Love, which I don't know if you can see. Random compliment cards. I've always felt nice when I've seen people say thank you or give compliments, but I don't want to seem like a creep. You just want to pick up someone's day. So I've got these compliment cards which go mad in my. You can gift these actually in my stream. So people can buy these for other people and raffle them. And they just basically, if you see someone or you say you've had a waiter and they've done such a nice job, as well as giving them a tip, you can say thank you for all the help. Or you've seen someone do something nice. It says, you've seen someone's drip looking fresh. You can send them a card saying how lovely they look, stuff like that. It's not just for like friends, but for random strangers, just to bring a smile on people's face with the AITT tribe. So.
Yeah, because you gave away, I think, a set. Someone won a set. You had a little
Yeah.
exclamation mark enter, which I need to talk to you
Yeah.
about. Find out how you did that. But yeah, and then someone won one, didn't they? And a pack of cards which you're going to send out. But that's really cool. A couple of comments. Obviously, we were talking about cancer earlier. We've got Hazel B saying 16-year cancer survivor, and then we've got Sideshow Mall. 29 years. He's currently, if you're interested, doing a donate to the children's hospital that he spent time in when he was a lot younger because of his issues. And he's doing shave or save. So people donate and they have to say whether he's going to shave off all his dreadlocks that he's had for that 29 years. At the moment, I think it's balancing towards shave. I voted to save. But it looks like
I wish I spoke to you earlier. I've done the same thing because I have hair, right? I have a pretty. I've had it trimmed a few times, but my one is if we hit 5K, I'm shaving it off, and I don't want to. Yeah, but I wish I'd done that one now. Like I could have.
Well, maybe both of you will be bald.
I want to keep it. I don't want to lose it. So I think if I hit 5, I'm gonna do a 24-hour stream to get to 6, so I can save my hair.
That's a great idea. Right, last sort of section. This is obviously part of my journey, and I always get guests to bring on normally 345s, but obviously you're not a 45s community. So I suggested 3 tracks. So what 3 tracks lift your spirits?
3 tracks to lift my spirits. Okay, I have Stevie Wonder, Another Star, as my all-time favorite Stevie Wonder song. I'm a big New Jack Swing lover. So my New Jack Swing song is called Spirit by Force One Network. And if I had a song that I ever thought that was about me, it's Nature Boy, but in specific, the George Benson version.
They're good though. They're good. They're all good tracks. They're amazing, and
I
they
mean,
lift
it's
your
hard because you've got
spirits.
so many in it. You've got so many to pick from. I do have some albums on my wall, but like none of them contain like the Stevies that I have there don't contain that track. Marvin Gaye, like Let's Get On, is up there, but that's not my favorite. I prefer more tracks off the What's Going On album, or maybe Off the Wall. I could have brought the Off the Wall album. I do have a few sevens. You want to see a seven?
Yeah, go on then. What have you got?
Got a Lacadilla box set somewhere, and I've got Slick Rick, the children's story 7, which is also a children's book.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Come at record store days. I do like visiting on record store days and seeing what's out. I do still get involved in that for the culture, but I don't heavily invest anymore. My aim is one day to get my records back, get them back,
and then do a stream.
And then do a New Jack Swing stream, yes.
That'd be incredible. Thank you everyone for being here. DC Artists, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Everybody.
Sideshow Mall.
Thanks for having me, Criztoz,
everyone.
man.
No, it's been cool. It's been really good to catch up.